So you may have heard about Montessori, but you have some questions, or you might have some misconceptions or misguiding information. It's too rigid, or it's too free, and you really don't know what to believe. Well, today I'm going to debunk misconceptions about Montessori. Hi, I'm Tiffany from the Montessori Place, and today I want to take some time to debunk some misconceptions about Montessori. I'm going to touch on a few, and if you still have some questions about Montessori and possible misconceptions, leave a comment or a question below. So one of the first misconceptions that we come across is that Montessori is a preschool program only. Well, Montessori isn't only schools. It's almost a way of life, it's a way of viewing the child. And yes, you will find predominantly more preschool programs. However, Montessori continues to grow, and you can find middle school and high school programs. Another misconception about Montessori is, it's only for special learners, implying only for learners that are learning disabled or for learners that are gifted. And the reason for those misconceptions are the way Montessori teachers present information. When we present a lesson, we isolate the skill and we focus on step-by-step instructions. And we're meeting the child at the child's level, where the child is. So it is centered toward the child, which you see in a lot of programs for learning disabled or gifted children, rather than focus towards a class or a group. Montessori focuses on the child. There's some misconception that Montessori schools are religious. Yes, Maria Montessori was Catholic, and she does make references to the Bible and the Catholic religion in some of her books. And you will find some Montessori schools housed in churches, whether they are affiliated with them or not. But Montessori does not choose to just follow one particular religion. In fact, she lived in India for many years, and so Montessori is open to all religious beliefs. When presenting the creation story of our world in the lower elementary classroom, Montessori teachers will preface it with, this is one of the major scientific theories, but we do not discredit any religious creation stories. This is just another version of the story that is told. Some believe that Montessori schools are just for the rich or just for the poor. Well, when Maria Montessori opened the first Casa dei Bambini, it was for children in the slums of San Lorenzo, Rome. Today, you will find many private schools that are Montessori. And yes, there's a tuition, so it appears sometimes that it is for the rich. But, like I said, Montessori is expanding, and you're beginning to see a lot of public schools offering Montessori. You'll see charter schools as well. Montessori teachers are very passionate about what we teach. And so it almost sometimes seems that we are cult-like. And the reason for that is Montessori teachers really respect the child and are of service to the child. We don't do our job to teach or impart knowledge. We serve the child to foster that natural desire to learn. And it sometimes sets us apart from our more traditional education teachers. Some people view Montessori as too structured, other times too free. Well, these take a little bit of time to explain. Too structured. Well, let's talk about that one. The Montessori classroom is very clearly set up and organized to meet the needs of the children in the environment. And those presentations that are chosen have an isolated task or skill to work on. And when the teacher is presenting that new lesson, the teacher will model very specific movements and model very specific or no language at all, because we want the child to focus on either what the hands are doing, or we're wanting the child to focus on key vocabulary words without the distraction of miscellaneous language or miscellaneous movements that will confuse. Again, we're showing how to work with the material, but by the child interacting with the material, that's how they learn a concept, through that repeated practice with that material. A Montessori classroom can appear too free to a passerby. In a traditional classroom, you'll see a teacher in the front of the classroom imparting knowledge to children seated around. In a Montessori classroom, you may have a hard time finding the teacher because the teacher is moving around giving one-on-one lessons to the children. Children are free to move and choose their own work. They are free to work at a table. They're free to stand at a table. They're free to grab a rug and place it anywhere around the room, as long as it's not a distraction to others. And so it almost looks chaotic, all this movement. But if you take the time to pause and observe, you see that each child is engaged in his or her own task. The last misconception that I want to talk about is the lack of parents being able to participate. Montessori teachers go through a lot of training of learning to observe the child, to present material, like I said, with very few words, very carefully modeling, and then staying out of the way so as not to be a distraction. And so that sometimes creates uncomfortability with parents coming into the classroom. Sometimes parents want to engage with the children, or they want to ask questions of the teacher of what the child is doing. And unbeknownst to themselves, they are creating a distraction. We love to have parents in the classroom. We want parents to be able to come and observe. And so there may be a checklist of things to be aware of when you're invited to the classroom to observe. Also, we want parents to share culture, hobbies, their job. And that's the best way that we are able to have parents participate in the classroom. If I've cleared some misconceptions for you today, please leave a comment below. If you found the information helpful, feel free to share it with your friends. Make sure to check back next week as I go over ages and stages of development.